Okay, this is part 2 of chat history, evil kings that did evil things. No introduction, I already did part 1. So let's just get right into this and see what else there is.
The Xia dynasty, the very first dynasty in ancient China, is estimated to have been founded around 2070 BC.
Let me just start out by saying this dynasty is it's very complex and no one really knows anything about it. This dynasty there's a possibility of this dynasty not even existing. That's why I said approximately, with the years being 270 BC to 600 BC, or 1600 BC, is no one really knows if this dynasty actually existed or not. A lot of what's coming from this time is, once again, like I was talking in part 1 about, is ancient sources is just a lot of it's untrue. The historians at the time mix into the historical accounts legends and their biases and all other sorts of kinds of things. It's just, this dynasty most likely did not even exist. I just want to say that before we get started with this, but let's see where this is going.
And remained in power for several hundreds of years, until this guy showed up. King Jie was the last ruler of the Xia dynasty, which most certainly means that he royally fudged up in some shape or form. So what happened? Not surprisingly, Jie had a reputation as a cruel tyrant. He was the big cheese around these parts, and he wanted everyone to know that at all times. But you could argue that Jie was ahead of his time, because instead of focusing on ways to better his empire, like any good emperor would, he only sought ways to make life better for himself and his closest buddies, like modern politicians. He also loved spending money, tons of it. He would drain the kingdom's coffers on frivolous activities.
So I had to pause that for a second. That was just terrible. Okay.
It's like luxurious palace upgrades, endless entertainment, and smashing some gash with the royal concubines. When he ran out of money, he would either raise taxes to continue to fund his lifestyle, or randomly invade small neighboring towns to relieve them of their hard-earned money and their women. On one particularly lucrative expedition, Jie decided to ravage the local Yushi clan.
Open up, Yushi. I know you're in there.
Oh, sorry. Wrong clan. There we go. The Yushi clan didn't want to put up a fight because they knew they would get their shit kicked in, so they instantly surrendered. As you can see, they were pretty smart. The clan offered up a substantial bounty of riches for King Jie to hit the road. But since the king had a boner for spilling blood, he felt flaccid and defeated by an enemy who quickly gave up without a fight. Before King Jie could act, the chief of the Yushi clan offered one more prize, a beautiful woman by the name of Moshi. Enamored by her obvious beauty, King Jie swiftly accepted the offer. I love you. Jie became unhealthily obsessed with Moshi, trying anything and everything to please her. He once had servants dig a lake and fill it with wine so the couple could bathe, drink, and flop around on and in each other.
Okay, I do know this story. I didn't know this is where it came from. But yes, I was aware of the river or lake of Rhine in ancient China. I did hear this story before. Once again, it's unclear if this actually happened or if this actually true. I always heard that this story was actually just a legend, but I'm just going, for the sake of this video, I'm just going to say it happened, although there is no actual historical accounts of this actually taking place. But
the lake was just full of completely disgusting fluids. Now that it was properly flavored, 3,000 men were then commanded to drink the lake dry. They drowned. After learning that his nearest, dearest, darlingest love weirdly enjoyed the ASMR pleasures of tearing silk, he demanded that the finest silks from the farthest reaches of the kingdom be brought before him so he could rip them for her. All of these dumbass endeavors continued to clear out the kingdom's already scant reserves, so it was time to fundraise. Okay, fellas, taxes are going up again. What the fuck, GA? We can't afford to live like this.
Damn it, did I tell you not to fucking interrupt me? I'm doing something. No.
What kind of video is it?
I'll let you know after it's done.
Stan, I'm this close to getting her to notice me. Stop being a simp. Alright, that guy? Someone kill that guy.
Damn.
You're still a simp, you know? I know. Basically, over the next several years, all the pissed off and neglected subjects and neighbors started feeling pissed off and neglected. So they turned their attention to a newer, cooler guy. Instead of GA of Shia, now they wanted Tang of Shang. How funny is that? After many years of gaining political power and support around the country, Tang of Shang built an army, revolted, and eventually defeated and captured King Jie, stripping him of his kingship. Around 1600 BC, the Xia dynasty had fallen after about 500 years of rule. Jie eventually died of natural causes as a penniless commoner. Evil can be subjective.
I am very aware of this one. I know a lot about this one, actually. King Leopold of Belgium. This is probably talking about the Congo, is my guess.
What could be viewed as an act of evil by one group may be celebrated and revered by another. For instance, Vlad the Impaler's cruel acts of, well, impaling 20,000 people may be seen as wicked and sadistic by most, but to Romanians, he's seen as a hero because he defended his homeland from the invading Ottoman Empire. But then there's just completely unjustifiable evil assholes, like King Leopold II of Belgium. What do you think of when you think of Belgium? Waffles? Chocolate? Well, how about indigenous genocide? Yeah, in case you didn't know, the Belgian crown was once in possession of one of, if not the, bloodiest European colonies in African history. At the Berlin Conference in 1884, King Leopold II sought to expand his fortune by staking claim to the Congo, over 900,000 square miles of African rainforest in the present-day Democratic Republic of the Congo. To sweeten the deal, Leo formed the International African Association under the guise that it was for humanitarian and philanthropic purposes. Also to establish free trade between the European countries, which was the real selling point. With that, the other colonizing European countries of France, Germany, Italy, Spain, Portugal, and the United Kingdom welcomed Belgium's claim to the land, and King Leopold II was now the sole owner of the ironically named Congo Free State. But there was nothing free about it.
I was gonna say that there was nothing free about it. The indigenous people from the Congo essentially became slaves and was forced to work for the Belgians, collecting all kinds of resources from the land. The Pacific one that's really well known is rubber because, well, the Congo has a lot of rubber trees, and, well, at this time, cars and everything was becoming a huge thing, and obviously when you have cars, you need rubber for tires, so he made so much money from essentially blood and sweat and blood, slaving these people away to collect rubber to sell, which is just absolutely horrible, but that's exactly what happened here.
Leo's only interest was to extract as much resources and wealth from the land by any means necessary. In order to do that, he needed manpower. So he forced new laws on the Congolese chieftains to implement within their own communities. Those who resisted were swiftly eradicated by other Congolese communities who were backed by the Belgian crown. Initial collection and trade of precious ivory exports weren't the best for profit margins, so not as much money was being made as expected, causing the colony to fall into massive massive debt. But with the invention and development of automobiles in the late 1800s, the demand for tires shot through the thatched roof. In order to make tires, you need rubber. Lots of rubber. Where does rubber come from? Rubber trees. And boy, let me tell you that the Congo had some rubber trees. After establishing his own personal African army called the Force Publique to enforce rule, King Leo extracted a fortune through blood. Millions of Congolese natives were enslaved and forced to harvest and process rubber from the Congo with the main goal of maximizing production at all costs. Those who were unable to meet a labor quota were sometimes murdered on the spot. Those who refused to work were savagely beaten with their villages raided and destroyed. This system, called the Red Rubber System, led to the utter collapse of the Congolese economy and culture. It should be noted that King Leo never stepped foot in the Congo himself. He left all of this dirty work to hand-picked Belgian officials who ruled as they pleased, often contributing their own atrocities against the native people. One particularly nasty official was Leon Fiebes. He was notorious for punishing underperforming slaves by having their hands cut off. He claimed that it was a way to settle the debt of labor owed to him. The Force Publique soldiers were in charge of collecting these debts, and they were even rewarded for the amount of hands they could collect. With that mentality, they would often resort to cutting the hands off of working slaves to cheat the system. This actually ended up pissing the king off because how the hell are slaves supposed to work with no hands? There were several other issues that plagued the Congo as a direct result of Belgian brutality. All of the development and forced labor caused the vast majority of farming to come to a dead halt, leading to extreme famine and even more deaths. Children who were orphaned during the colonization were kidnapped and forced into Catholic schools where they would learn to work or be soldiers. Fatal diseases ran rampant through the Congo, including smallpox, amoebic dysentery, and the parasitic trypanosomiasis, also called the sleeping sickness, which caused mass insomnia and painful muscle spasms. Through the culmination of these atrocities, historians estimate that roughly 5 to 10 million Congolese people lost their lives during Belgium's reign over the Congo from 1885 to 1908. Thanks to missionaries who secretly documented these atrocities, the public was informed of the horrors of the Congo. The Belgian public, who had no knowledge of these actions, caused an uproar. After much public outcry around the world, including famous writers like Mark Twain and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the Belgian parliament forced King Leopold II to cede the Congo Free State to Belgium itself in 1908, but not before he could destroy any and all documented evidence of his wrongdoings that he could find. The Congo Free State was changed to the Belgian Congo, then the Republic of the Congo, then the Democratic Republic of the Congo, since its western neighbor had the same name. King Leopold died a year later in 1909, and the public dunked on his funeral with loud booing and heckling. Even today, many Belgians are ashamed of their late monarch's atrocious behavior and demonstration of how evil a human could be. Fun stuff, right? Here's another video.
Okay, so that was an extremely interesting video. I would like to know your comments about those picks. My list would definitely look a little differently when I was making a list about evil kings, but that was some solid picks that he picked from. I was actually interested in a few that I have no idea about, so I actually learned something. Hopefully you guys learned something, and I hope to see you in the next video.